Mataji, put the first PPT, Mataji, if you have.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to share?
Yeah. So that Vrinda will tell all these verses by the time we are waiting for.
I don't have the permission to share.
Oh, sorry, Mataji. Yeah. By the time others join, she will tell those.
You mean the recitation, the invocation prayers?
Not Mataji. The first the slokas that we learned.
This one? I don't have from the beginning. I only have.
Oh, you don't have from the beginning?
Yeah, I just, because the PPT gets too long,
Okay. I will try to.
Okay, now there are 5 of us.
Oh, somebody joined. Very nice.
Yes.
Okay. But still, I'm not counted.
Yeah, you and Preeti and I, so 2 of.
She's the host, so she's not counted.
Yes,
Okay, this Sloka.
Not counted. They are all counted.
Okay. Preeti Mataji said we are all counted.
Yeah, we were thinking, Preeti, that, we should have like a minimum quorum to have the class. What do you think?
You want to say?
Savai bum jambaro darvaya do bhakti rokshane ay dukhi apradiyadaya advasubhasidake.
Thank you, Brinda. We will maybe just start with the class. What do you say, Vinita and Preeti?
Yeah. You start, Mataji, and after today's class, we can send a reminder like that.
Okay.
The group. Yeah, we can do today. Mataji.
Okay, we will recite the invocation prayers, the Manglacharan. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome, devotees. After, last year we are meeting today. Happy New Year to all of you. And does anybody recall where we left off last time? We were doing like this set of 4 verses, right? From the 7th chapter of the first canto. So we will be doing a very famous verse today. Actually, this is the one we'll be learning today, and then we will go and revise these 4 key verses of Bhagavatam. Okay. So, any volunteers who would like to repeat after me? Please?
I can repeat, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Preeti. Suta Uvacha.
Sutta Uvacha.
Preeti, you take rest. I know you're sick.
I like the word.
Okay, try if you can. Atma Ramascha Munayo.
Atma Ramascha Munayo.
Nirgantha api urukrame.
Nirgrantha api urukrame.
Atma Ramascha Munayo.
Atma Ramascha Munayo.
Nirgrantha apyurukrame.
Nirgrantha apyurukrame.
Kurvantyahaitukīm bhaktim.
Kurvantyahi tukim bhaktim.
Yeah, what we try to do is Kurvan And then the Y we try to join it with A. Yahaitukim. Kurvantyahitukim bhaktim.
Kurvantyahaitu kim bhaktim.
Itham bhuta guno harihi.
Ittam bhuta guno harihi.
Atma ramascha munayo.
Atma ramasya munayo.
Nirgrantha apyurukrame.
Nirgantha apyurukrame.
Kurvantyahitukim bhaktim.
Kurvantyahaitu kim bhaktim.
Itham bhuta guno harihi.
Bhuta guno harihi.
Atma ramascha munayo.
Atma ramasya munayo.
Nirgrantha apyurukrame.
Nirgrantha apyurukrame.
Kurvantyahitukim bhaktim.
Kurvantyahaitu kim bhaktim.
Itham bhuta guno harihi.
Ittam bhuta guno harihi.
Yeah, thank you, Preeti. Okay, this was the verse. So we'll do a quiz like we always do, and anybody who knows, please, feel free to unmute yourself and answer. Okay, what does Atmarama mean?
Atmaram, self-satisfied.
Yeah, self-satisfied. Cha Munayo means
Sage.
Muni,
Munis are sages.
sages, like that. Nirgrantha.
Mm.
Earlier we have learned one verse, right? Karma Granthi Nibandhana.
Mm.
What does Grantha means?
Bonds, huh?
Bondage.
Yeah, bondage, yeah. So Nirgrantha means?
Without bondage.
No bondage.
Yeah, no material attachments or no bondage. Very nice. Api Urukrame. Urukrame?
Krishna.
Yeah, Trivikrama, Urukrama. Urukrama means like very strong person. Urukrama. Kurvanti.
Performer of great feats.
Yeah. Kurvanti.
To do.
Wonderful. See, we have all pandits on the call, don't we? Ahaitukim.
Without any hetu, motivation.
Yeah. Yeah. Unmotivated. Very good. Yeah. Bhaktim, we all know. Itham bhuta guno harihi. What does that mean?
Guna as qualities, Hari is the Lord. Bhuta is maybe living entities, I don't know.
Yeah, such are the qualities of the God, Lord. That's what it means. So what does this verse in effect mean? Atma ramascha munayo nirgrantha pyurukrame kurvanti. So Atma ramascha munayo nirgrantha. So Atma Ram, these sages are actually self-satisfied and without any bondage. And what do? Urukrame kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim. What do? They offer devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Urukrama or Trivikrama, and said that who will not, the Lord is so, full of so beautiful qualities. So who would not like to do that like that? Now we'll look at the at the word for word. Any volunteers who want to read this word for word meaning? Let me change it to. Yeah, can you all see?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please, anybody wants to volunteer to read the word for word meaning?
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Synonyms. Sutta Uvacha. Sutta Goswami said, Atma Rama, those who take pleasure in the Atma, generally spirit self. Cha, also. Munaya, sages. Nirgrandha, freed from all bondage. Api, in spite of. Urukrame, unto the great adventurer. Kurvanti, do. Ahaitukim, unalloyed. Bhaktim, devotional service. Itham bhuta, such wonderful guna, qualities. Hari, of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Who wants to read the translation? Any volunteers?
I can continue, Mataji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji.
Translation. Sutta Goswami said, all different varieties of Atma Ramas, those who take pleasure in the Atma or spirit self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including liberated souls.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading so nicely. Yeah, so this is a very key verse. We know, right? This verse is also described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where who gives 61 translations for this verse? Anybody recall? Yeah. So to whom? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So he gives so many explanations for, just for each word, like for Atma Rama itself, like there are so many definitions, like, what these Atma Ramas, what are the different types of Atma Ramas, starting from somebody who is, just doing, just doing Sakama Karma Yoga, then going to Nishkama, then, like different stages as they progress in their bhakti. So different kinds of devotees, different levels of devotees are discussed in this verse, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives 61 different meanings, for all different stages of these different kinds of Atma Ramas, or spiritual seekers. So there are different levels, right? Like that. So all these expressions, and so it's a very key important verse, we all should try to memorize. So we'll recite it a few more times, and maybe, okay, I don't know, we'll try to any volunteers who want to recite this verse?
Shall I, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sutta Uvacha Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgandhapi Urukrame Kurvantya Haitu Kim Bhaktim Ittam Bhuta Guno Hari.
Thank you, Mataji. Two other people have raised their hand. Bhavna Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Sutuvacha Atma Ramascha Munayo Nilgrantha Api Urukrame Kurvantya Hetu Kim Bhaktim Ittam Bhuta Guno Hari. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Vinita Mataji, please go ahead.
Sutta Atma Ramasya Munayo Nirgandha Api Urukrame Kurvantya Haitu Kim Bhaktim Ittam Bhuta Guno Harihi.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Bharat Prabhu, did you raise your hands or perhaps no? Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
Sutuvacha Atma Ramasya Munayo Nirgrantha Pi Urukrame Kurvanti Ahetukam Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Hari. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go and try to revise the 4 key shlokas, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So how after, Narada, he advises Vyasadeva to start writing about the glories of Lord Krishna, because he had missed, right, writing about the glories of Lord Krishna. So what does Vyasadeva do? So he goes and he meditates. And then, these are like the 4 key verses which actually describe what Vyasadeva did after that. So we will try to revise these verses. So any volunteers who want to recite the 4th verse, please?
Shall I do, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead. I mean, we only are 5 of us, 6 of us, so I think we'll be taking turns repeatedly. So
yeah, okay, Mataji.
Thank you.
Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihte male Apashyat purusham purnam mayam cha tadapashrayam. Thank you. Mataji, do you want to comment on the meaning of this verse or any words that you can understand from this verse, Mata? Yes, Mataji, I will try to make it, Mataji. Bhakti Yogena means, Manasi. Manasi means mind. When we fix the mind on the Bhakti devotional service, Samyak means very fine, very nicely.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfectly. Pranihite amale. Amale means without Amala Purana, like that.
Yeah, without any contamination.
Without any contamination. Apashyat, Purusham, Purnam. Purna Purusham means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Apashyat, this seeing.
Yeah.
Maya means energy, Krishna's energy. Tadapashrayam. It will be under full control of him, so it won't affect us.
Yeah, so very nice, Mataji. You described the verse very beautifully, you explained. So Bhakti Yogena Manasi, like you rightly said, who is established in Bhakti Yoga, is perfectly situated and he is non-contaminated. At this stage, what can he see? Apashyat, though it, sounds like we say Pashyati is see. So we tend to think Apashyat would be not see, but the meaning is it's seeing actually here. So apashyat and apashrayam means, apashyat means seeing, apashrayam means taking shelter. Okay. So apashyat purusham purnam. So when one is situated like this in Bhakti Yoga, in a perfect state, then he can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purusham Purnam, the Supreme Personality, and not only the Supreme Personality, but he can also see Mayam Chatad Apashrayam, that Maya is under the control, like Ashraya, that Maya is under the Ashraya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one is able to clearly see that, the Supreme Controller or the Supreme Lord is the controller of Maya. So he or she sees not only the Supreme Lord, but also sees that the material creation or Maya to be under the full control of the Supreme Lord. Very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. We'll move on to next verse. Any volunteers who want to recite this verse, please? The text 5. Bhavna Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunaatmakam paroapi manute anartham tatkritam chabhipadyate. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Do you want to comment on the meaning of this verse, Mataji?
I will try, Mataji.
Yeah, please.
Yaya sammohito jiva. Jiva means the living entity. Sammohito means they are under the control. Atmanam Trigunatmakam. The living entity is under the control of 3 modes of material nature, that is mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Paro api manute anartham. Paro means that is not of this world, means above from material world, that is transcendental. Paro api manute anartham. Anartham means whatever anarthas that we have. Tat kritam chabhipadyate. I'm not sure for this last line, Mataji.
No worries. Kritam means to do, right? Okay. So, you very nicely explained the other 3 lines, Mataji. So that's what he does towards the end. So, in the first verse, we are saying that a sage, who is perfectly situated in Bhakti Yoga can actually, see the Supreme Lord and also Maya under the full control of the Supreme Lord. But text 5 is explaining that how about a person who is not situated in this Bhakti Yoga? So, Yaya Sammohito Jiva. So, the person, he is illusion, like Sammohita is kind of bewildered or illusion. This Jiva Atmanam Trigunatmakam. He thinks himself to be a product of the 3 gunas, like, he thinks that he is a material, he is the body in one sense. Paro api manute anartham tatkritam cha, and he thinks that this is what is the ultimate, and anartham tatkritam cha bhipadite. And because he is in this kind of consciousness, he is in this bodily consciousness, what does he think? What does he do? Anartham tatkritam cha bhipadite. So whatever he does is actually anartha, or it's not related to Krishna, right? So it is like all material endeavors and no spiritual activity is involved, because this jiva is bewildered and he thinks he's a product of these three gunas, right? And he does not realize the upper hand of Krishna. So he thinks that he is just this, api manute. So he doesn't know that he is paro or above all these three modes, but he thinks that he is a product, atmanam trigunatmakam. He thinks himself, atmanam trigunatmakam, to be a product of these three gunas. And then manute, he thinks api manute, anartham tatkritam chabhipa. So in this consciousness, he is actually performing anartha. That's what it means. Very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, text 6. Any volunteers who would like to recite, please? Okay, Bharat Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Thanks, Nathan. Anarthopashmam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshade lokasya janato vidvam chakre satvata samhitam.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Do you want to comment on the translation of this verse?
Yes, Mataji, I'll try.
Mhm.
Anarthopashmam. Anarth means like anarth we have Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh. The anarth, that anarthas. Pashnam, mitigate that. Sakshat means clear, crystal clear, means sakshat we can see directly. Bhakti yogam adhokshade. Bhakti yoga means bhakti yoga, the devotional service that we perform. Adhokshad, the supreme personality of Godhead, means the yoga to satisfy Lord. Adhokshad, Lord Krishna. Lokasya janato. Lok means living entities, general people. Ajanato, agyan means they are not in knowledge of that. Vidvams, uh, who are intelligent people, vidvan. Chakre satvata samhitam. Chakre,
Go
satvata
ahead to
means
Satvata Samhitam. Yeah.
satvata is like supreme Lord, and samhitam, like we have Brahma Samhita, literatures that we have. Bhagavatam is called samhitam. So that matters.
Yeah, wonderful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. You almost got it, just for a few words here and there. Yeah, like you rightly said, anartha upashamam. Anartha is, like the material, contaminations which we have. Upashamam is to destroy them or mitigate them, like you rightly said. Sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshajes. How can it be done? Mitigation of material afflictions by sakshad, by bhakti yoga. To whom? To adhokshaja. Adhokshaja is the name for Lord Krishna. And lokasya ajanato, like you rightly said, the whole world, in this, especially in this Kali Yuga, right? This Bhagavatam is helping the people in Kali Yuga, right? So lokasya ajanato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. So lokasya ajanato, because these people are, like we saw in these verses are connected. So we saw, right, how yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam. So this jiva is actually bewildered and he thinks himself to be a product of the three gunas and he's performing all anartha, right? So this verse, 6th verse, is starting with anartha upashamam. How to destroy this anartha? So by bhakti yogam adhokshaje, and how so this knowledge of bhakti yoga to adhokshaja was given lokasya ajanato. Vidvams here is referring to none other than our Vyasadeva. Chakre means he wrote or he compiled. the Satvata Samhitam. Satvata is like the, divine Samhitam. It is referring to the Srimad Bhagavatam here. So that's how he, because he wanted to save the people, from all this samoha, so that's why this verse is the next verse. Okay. And then what we should do now that he has compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam for our benefit, what should we do? That will be described in text 7. Okay. Any volunteers who want to read this verse, please? Recite this verse, please. Vishnupriya Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne paramapurushe bhaktirutpadyate pumsa shokamoha vayapaha. Mataji, you said, after he compiled this Bhagavatam, what should we do now? This shloka is telling. So, Shruyamanaya means if we just hear to this, about which describes about Krishna Paramapurushe, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Krishna. Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsa. Pumsa means the living human beings, living beings. Utpadyate means it will take birth, which is taking birth. Bhakti will take birth, and this will take away shoka, moha, and bhaya. Shoka means our difficulty. Shoka, lamentation. Moha, the illusion. Bhaya means fear.
Very nice, Mataji. You explained so beautifully. So, Yasyam Vaishruyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe. So, in the previous verse, we saw that, Bhakti Yogam to Adhokshaja will actually get rid of these anarthas for us. And for that reason, Vyasadev, he wrote this Srimad Bhagavatam. So, what happens when we try to Shruti, like to listen or to read or to, attend classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens is, Yasyam vai Shruyamanam Krishna Paramapurushe. So this is actually describing the Lord Krishna, like Mataji explained, Bhakti Rutpadyate Pumsaha. So this gives rise to Bhakti, because what happens when you do Bhakti? All this anartha, everything will be gone, right? Everything will be gone, and then you will be established in Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. You'll be freed of all this material lamentation, illusion, or attraction, greed, and fear, like that. So you'll get rid of all these material qualities. So these 4 are like a sequence of verses. So please try to memorize them. It's very useful for preaching purposes. So in short, if somebody asks us, what did Vyasadev do? Why did he compile? How did he work on the Srimad Bhagavatam? So this can, in one sense, be the answer for it. Okay. Like we can tell that, living beings are like this, they are considering themselves to be the body, and then Vyasa came and he mercifully, he compiled this, and by doing this, what happens? We get, it gives rise to bhakti, and then bhakti gets rid of everything and gives us, this is like almost like a peace formula, right? Like, it gets rid of shoka, moha, and bhaya. So it's a very nice sequence of 4 verses. Prabhupada has also given classes, on these 4 verses together. It's very important key verses. So please, let's all try to learn. I'm also trying to memorize. So with all your help, maybe we can learn. Okay, let's try to revise a couple more verses for today. Yeah. Can anybody want to recite this verse, 1522? Yeah, Bhavna Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Idam hi pumsa tapasah shrutasya va srishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichyuto artha kavibhi nirupito yad uttama shloka gunanuvarnanam. Thank you, Mataji.
Very nice, Mataji. Do you want to comment on the translation of this verse? Any words
I
that
will-
stand out to you?
Yeah, I will try, Mataji.
Mhm.
Pumsas means the living entities. Tapasa means the tapasya that we perform. Shrutasya means to hear.
Mhm.
Svishtasya, Suktasya.
Mhm.
I'm not sure for these meanings. Buddhi means the intelligence.
Mhm.
Dattayo means to engage, I
Mhm.
think. Avichyuto, Artha Kavibhi Nirupito.
Mhm.
Artha means whatever material gain. Kavibhi means Kavibhi means the devotee of Lord,
Mhm.
like Nirupito, who is always engaged in the devotional service of Lord. Yad Uttama Shloka Gunanuvanan means Uttam Shlok means the transcendental verse that glorifies Lord Krishna. Gunanuvanan that always engage in glorifying the Lord Krishna by the Uttam Shloka, by the transcendental verses.
Very
So
nice, Mataji. You got many of the words. Very nice, Mataji. So Uttama
thank you, Mataji.
Shloka is actually, like you said, to whom we offer the topmost, or this, the Uttama prayers, the perfect prayers, and Krishna's name is Uttama Shloka, right? Like you said rightly. So because, we offer the choicest prayers to Krishna, his other name is Uttama Shloka. So here, Uttama Shloka is referring to Krishna and Gunanuvarnana. So what are we doing? We are describing the glories of none other than Lord Krishna. Idam hi pumsas tapasa shrutasyava. You like you rightly said. So whatever we do, pumsas, the human beings, we engage, right, in tapasya, shruti, like, we're reading, we're studying scriptures, we're doing all this. Swishtasya means refers to sacrifices. We engage in some sacrifices. Suktasya, also offering prayers like the Sukta. Cha buddhi dattayoho avichito. So all this, wherever we're using our intelligence to, serve Krishna like this, avichito artha kavibhir nirupito. So this all must culminate in what? A kavibhir nirupito. So this all must culminate in actually creating the choicest prayers to glorify the Lord. So this is what this verse means. So all this, our learning, our austerity, our sacrifices, whatever we are trying to do for Krishna, it should actually culminate in, singing beautiful poems like Kavibhir Nirupito, Avichito Artha. For the sake of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kavibhir Nirupito, Yad Uttama Shloka Gunanuvan. So actually we should be using all these things. The end aim of all the doing, tapasya, shruti, all these sacrifices is that we describe this, the Lord in beautiful poetry or beautiful words, his glories. That's what this verse means. Okay, let's move on to this verse. Iti Murti. Anybody wants to recite this verse, please? Bharat Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Thank you, madam. Iti murti abhidhanena mantra-murti amurtikam jaite yagge purusham sasamyak darshana puman.
Do you want to try the meaning for this verse, Prabhuji?
Yes,
I think
Mataji,
I
I'll
may have
try.
forgotten myself. Let me try to refer.
Sure, Mataji.
Do you want to try, or you good, Prabhu?
Some words, Mataji, I can try.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, like Murti, iti Murti. Murti means the representation of Lord, that we serve the Lord. Abhidhanena means it's a transcendental sound. Mantra Murti, that like Hare Krishna mantra, how to glorify that mantra. Amurtikam means Lord appears to us in the form of the material, like the various form in which deities we have, but he's above from that, all the material modes. Yaite Yagya Purusham. So he is the Yagya Purush, to whom we do any Yagya or sacrifice. So we should offer to him the Purusham, the Supreme Lord is the Param Purush. And Sa Samyak Darshana Pumar. So Samyak means see to see darshana, to have darshan of the Lord, to man the living entities. So persons who see Lord Krishna, they do the sacrifice is complete.
Yeah, very nice, Prabhuji. Like you explained, iti murti abhidanena mantra murtim amurtikam. Like you rightly said, here the Supreme Lord is referred to as amurtikam. Does that mean that the Lord doesn't have a form? No, right? It only means that he doesn't have a material form. He is all spiritual, right? Satchid Ananda Vigraha. He is. So, iti murti abhidanena. So, so how do we worship, or what do we do? Mantra murtim. We use the mantra form of the Lord, Yajate Yajna Purusham. What do? We worship him with using the mantra Yajna Purusham, like you rightly said, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sa Samyak Darshana Puman. So when a person uses this mantra to actually offer devotional service, to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has no material form, he's amurtikam. So that person is perfectly situated. He gets the perfect darshan of the Lord. Like it, by the mantra, or what we're trying to learn here is that, the mantra is nothing but the mantra of the Lord, or the name of the Lord is absolute in every sense, is equal to the Lord. So when you recite the mantra or the names of the Lord, it is actually you're getting the sa samyak darshana puman. So it is the absolute sense. It is perfect like that. Yeah, we are at 8 o'clock mark. So I'm thinking we will stop here and we'll continue next week. We'll recite the the Vaishnava Pranam Mantra. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Thank you all so much, and please do join us next week. We'll be actually starting with prayers of Queen Kunti, which are very, very beautiful prayers. So please do join us next week. We'll try to learn prayers of Queen Kunti. Okay. Thanks everybody, and again wishing you all a very happy Krishna conscious New Year. Thank you.
Happy Krishna conscious New Year to you too, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna conscious Mataji.
Thank you.
Raji.
Thank you.